Okay, so our second guest today is Atif Rahman, and thank you so much for joining us, Atif. I'll now hand it over to Stuart so that he can make an introduction on Atif and also manage the Q&A with him. Stuart?
Thank you, Ari. Welcome, Atif. Welcome to the webinar this week. For those who aren't aware, Atif is the director and partner at Danube Properties. Atif founded the development arm of Danube Group in 2014 and has grown the division with great success over the last 6 years, winning multiple awards both for the business, on a project level and also on a personal level. As a true thought leader in the developer space, Atif has kindly agreed to share how Danube is addressing the current market challenges and what they are focusing on for the future. So welcome, Atif.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Good morning, everyone, and wish you all a very, very healthy morning, healthy life. I'm sure everyone's staying home, staying protected, and looking after their health.
Thank you. So the first question, Atif, is what is Danube focusing on during this time of crisis?
I think we are focusing on strengthening ourselves. You know, this is a great time to reformat our business, rethink our strategies, and strengthen our business. I firmly believe there are two key things for any business to focus on right now. Number one being how to limit the damage, because we've encountered the crisis now. There's no denying, you know, and it's world over. So I mean, everyone's sailing in the same boat. So let's look at what we can do best. And I think if we try to limit the damage and evolve ways and methods of how we can keep moving forward, I think these two are key for the business. So that's what we're focusing on while we are also strengthening ourselves as a business. Yeah.
Great, thank you. The next question then actually follows on from that. And what would you say the key things that you've had to do to adapt during that time?
I mean, so various different things. I mean, we had implemented right from the beginning when we could see that crisis was spreading across the globe. We decided to implement strict hygiene policy within the office when we were operating from the office, and we had put in a lot of measures to make sure that our employees and customers and everyone who was walking into our office remained protected. Thanks to God, alhamdulillah, no one was affected, and then we were planning to go off-site while we were operating from the office, because I could see things are not going to improve that quickly. And I had some real-time data from our employees in China, and we kind of had an idea of how things will progress once it was spreading across the globe. So we started planning our off-site operations. We're in the 4th week now. We were one of the first offices to go off-site. So we're ready, well before the lockdown was announced. So everyone was kind of pretty much settled in their home and operating from there. I think one of the key things for me is that we don't want to lay off any of our employees. And as much as possible, I do not want to have any kind of salary cut, because it impacts human life, you know. So we're trying to maintain that. We've not laid off anyone, and there has been no salary cut for anyone. So everyone's comfortably placed. And now I think it has delivered an unimaginable level of motivation and commitment from all the staff, the way they have been operating. Let me share some data with you. We've been talking about the market slowing down and market being sluggish. How about us selling even through this period? It's unbelievable, isn't it? But we've been selling. We sold yesterday, day before, the last week, since we have been working off-site, and our collections have also improved. So I think overall, it has created, we've accepted the reality. That is one of the most important things in crisis, to quickly accept the reality. Yes, it is what it is, and see how we can adapt. And I've always maintained, for any business to be successful, one of the key things is spontaneity in decision making. So I think we've remained very focused on that part, and been very quick. My entire management, they've been very, very swift and quick in decision making, and that has helped us in a great way. Our sites are operating as normal. All the sites are performing well. There has been impact, we cannot deny that, but I think we're doing great in terms of how we are placed in this situation. And I think I cannot complain about anything. We're just perfectly placed as a business here.
Great, great. You mentioned in there, Atif, that actually you're still seeing transactions taking place now. With regards to consumers who've already purchased off-plan properties, what actions have you taken to help those customers with payments in the current months?
I think by focusing on completion of these projects, I think let's look at it this way. Do I want to give them another bad news that the company is suffering or the project is suffering? We all hope that this crisis will get over at some point of time, and we want great news. We want good news right now, you know. And I think we're not a bank. I've maintained this. We already provide an excellent payment plan for all the customers, and there's no way we can leverage on that, because if I leverage on that, I'm jeopardizing the completion of the project, which is detrimental for the business, for the customers, for all of us. So I think one of the key things we need to do as a business is look after the customers and the project they have invested in, ensure that we are able to deliver with the best quality possible and at the quickest time possible. So I think that is what our focus has been, and I think that is the best gift I can give to my customers, by ensuring that the projects are completed. And I see some great news coming this year, because we have another 3 projects we'll be delivering this year, which is tune of 1.2 billion dirhams. And I'm very confident customers are going to love it, because we have done some phenomenal upgrades in all these projects, and we'll remain focused on the delivery of the project. That is the most important thing, I feel. Yep.
Okay. So you're clearly focusing on the future and what's going to come after the crisis. You're not just reacting to what's happening now. How do you see the market shaping? What's the shape of the market going to look like in the future? And how is there going to be a change in focus for Danube, or are you sticking to your business principles that you've had previously?
I think Stuart. Okay, you know, I always believe, Stuart, we are in the finest real estate industry if you compare it worldwide. Dubai is one of the best. You know, why I say that is because the kind of regulatory framework that exists in Dubai, I think it's not available anywhere else in the world. The kind of digital advancement that Dubai real estate industry has made, it is unbelievable. It's unparalleled if you compare it anywhere in the world. You know, now what it does is it creates a kind of immunity for the investors, because the funds are locked in an escrow account. It is used for the construction of the project, and if you look at the infrastructure, it is one of the finest compared to the world. The government keeps adding more catalysts, more attractions to revive and keep advancing the real estate industry. So overall, it's one of the best if you compare it globally. Now, in this situation, I think it becomes a very profitable time for investors to come in and buy into real estate in Dubai, because you're buying at the rock bottom prices, and the only way the graph can move is upwards. And when you look at the current opportunities that are available in the real estate market, it's phenomenal. It's amazing. I mean, I was listening to some of the data that was being shared by Lynette, and I think it's fabulous. Can you imagine, we're in a lockdown and we're having 20% decrease in inquiries, 30% decrease in inquiries. So that means 70% still there, and that is amazing. That is phenomenal. You know, so I think you know, if you look at the Dubai real estate industry, I think it is one of the finest, and with every passing day, every passing month, I am very, very confident that it will continue to cement its place as the #1 real estate market across the globe.
We also have a few questions for Atif. Stuart, do you want to cover the questions for Atif?
Yes, thank you, Ari. So the first question, Atif, with the data suggesting that consumers are now looking at villas where they'd previously identified apartments as a potential next move, what impact do you see that having on future releases of properties into the market from the off-plan side of the UAE market?
See, Stuart, I think, you know, when you look at the data, I'm of the opinion we should never ever react to the data, you know, in an impulsive manner. It could be a temporary trend that we are experiencing, and I think there is no way you can take away the demand for apartments. It's impossible, because that is the main mid-income segment, the largest segment of the real estate industry anywhere in the world. Yes, it's a trend that we would see temporarily, because there would be a class of a section of people who could afford higher price apartments, and now they can see that the villa prices have softened, so they would migrate from buying an apartment to buying a villa, which is obviously a better purchase for them. So that it could be a temporary trend that we are experiencing, but not something that is going to define the future movement of the market for sure. It's very simple. The current situation, for me, I've always looked at how we can make a difference. It's very simple. When you get up in the morning, any one of us, every day, do we know what we are going to encounter in the day? We don't know. No one knows. But we still live with the belief. We encounter situations as they happen. We cross the bridge when we arrive. So that's I think is a very, very simple strategy that we all need to follow. Yeah, it is showing a temporary trend, but not something that is going to be defining trend in the industry. Yeah.
Great answer, Atif, and thank you for the share on the strategy. Second question we have is, with the global impact of COVID-19 and the restrictions around travel internationally, what impact has that had on construction in terms of import of supplies?
Well, I was checking the data yesterday with my procurement department. The container prices have gone up to $2,400. That is first thing I noticed. Yes, there has been impact, and especially because of the factories that were affected in China. Now we see that trend from Europe and also from India. I think there will be impact. There is no denying. We as a company, we always try to be ready in advance. We keep a buffer period for every project supply because we source the material ourselves. I mean, for everything from tiles, bath, sanitary, door, wardrobe, kitchen, everything you can think of that goes into an apartment. And we try to keep a buffer period. That has helped us greatly in this current situation. The supplies are affected, and we're trying to mitigate that delay and then see how we can adjust to the site requirements, because like I've always maintained within the company that site takes the precedence, because that is our factory, that is where we are building, and I think site takes precedence over everything else. So we need to adjust and then see how we can best deliver these materials, but it is definitely affected right now.